Hello, right, here's another core blitz session. You need nothing but your body weight, everything's a minute, and we're going to do 3 rounds. We're going to work in the front, the side, and the back. So, start by lying on your back. And we're going to start with pelvic tilt, simply treating it as a warm-up. Your pelvic tilt is bringing your hips towards the ribs and then releasing. So almost like if you've got an arch in your back, it's working towards getting rid of the arch. So it's just kind of like tucking your bum underneath you and getting this straight line from the shoulders to the head. That's your pelvic tuck. That's also mostly what people mean when they say about bracing your core as well. So we're just practicing by little pelvic tucks. It's a small movement of the pelvis. Just warming up the abs. Bring your hip bones. And they're kind of pointing, almost like they point towards your thighs, and then you pull it back towards point towards your ribs, and then keeping tucking and untucking, tucking and untucking. Every exercise we do is 1 minute. Did I say that? Maybe. If not, I'm telling you twice, because chance I maybe didn't hear. So we're going to be starting our first exercise, a hip bridge. So what you're going to do from here is just tuck the hips under, and then from there, squeeze your butt and lift your hips up. And then roll your hips down, then untuck. So you're getting a tuck first to lift, and then roll down and untuck. But always get that pelvic tilt, and then peeling the spine off the floor, 1 vertebra at a time. Your hands, by the way, can be any way you like. I kind of rest on my hips just to make sure I really feel that pelvic tilt. But you can rest them down on the floor, you can have them out to your sides. The attention here is on the butt muscles. So you're looking to squeeze your butt to start activating that lift. And as your hips lift, push your feet down into the floor. And just keep moving your feet into a position that makes you feel it predominantly in your bum. Not worrying too much about how high you lift your hips off the ground, but just feeling how hard you clench your booty. Right, next exercise is dead bugs. We're going to sit up with the knees over the hips, hands above the shoulders, and now just extend one leg forward, the other arm back, and then reset and switch, alternating arms. So you're going to tap your toe away from your bum, whilst maintaining 90 degrees at the knees. As you reach over your head, it should be opposite arm and leg are moving. And the goal here is to maintain your pelvic tilt. So you tilt, you're getting that straight line from your tailbone to your head, and then trying to maintain it. As you pull your arm and leg away, your butt's going to try and arch like this, and your goal is to try and keep your spine as neutral as you can. If you struggle with that, just reduce your range and don't go quite as far. Or maybe you want to just do the legs or just do the arms. Another option if you need less is to keep your toes on the floor and basically go for an alternate leg lift instead. And you can still open out and then just do alternate lifts. So make it work for your level that you're at the moment. Let's come into extended hip bridges. So this is for the hamstrings. What I mean by that is just walk your feet away from your bum and then peel the hips off, lift the hips up and lower hips down. So get the pelvic tilt again, lift the hips away from the ground and then release back down. Now, extended hip bridges, changing the foot position should mean you now feel more at the back of the leg as well as the bum. So we don't want to neglect the bum, we're just feeling some more muscles as well. Now, the hamstrings, I put this here in core. Hamstrings are technically not your core, but I've definitely tended to notice that a lot of us have a weak, this is from like all my clients and various injuries, some of my friends, that have weak hamstrings. I think because we do a lot of sitting around in the day, they tend to be tight but also weak. So just thought I'd include this in here as well, since we're doing the hip bridges, still includes the bum. If it is too much, by the way, bring your feet closer. If you do want a bit more, bring your feet further away. Further away, the more you're going to feel your hamstrings. Your bum will barely lift on this one, and that's fine. Nice! Grab your thighs, rock yourself up, and set yourself up in all fours. Shoulders over hands, hips over knees, and we're going to do a bit like the dead bug, but on the reverse. So extending opposite arm and leg, and then reset down, and then switch. So you can go with a bent leg, you can extend your leg straight behind you. The goal again is to find your neutral spine, so that's not here like this. So you're trying to eliminate the arch, and that's either an arch this way or an arch or rounding this way. So you're finding that neutral position where your spine is long, and then from there holding it as you extend. The ability to do pointers and dead bugs correctly are going to put you in a really good place. Because a lot of people I see that are really advanced with their training, but they still do this. And they're arching through the back, and then lifting, and then arching through the back, and then lifting. If you can manage to do it slowly, but maintain the neutral spine, your actual core strength, your deep core strength is going to improve so much. That's just going to lie on your side. So lie on your left side, bend your left knee, take your right knee slightly back, lift the leg up, and then just go little pulses, little pulses, little pulses, little pulses at the top. Watch out that the knee is behind the left knee and not in front, and not bending like this. So you're looking again, there goes back slightly, and we're going to be working to the side of the bum now. Side of the bum, but the bum muscles generally, again, another one that tends to be quite weak and underactive. But underactive meaning your bum will always work, by the way. When we say it never stops working. It's just that other muscles start to do some of the work instead of the bum. The bum is big, and we want to make it really strong, help support our pelvis, our spine, make sure the quads and or hamstrings or calves don't get too tight, so it's not tugging on the knees, the ankles. Can even help with shoulder pain, having a strong bum. So yeah, important to do. We will do the other side, but not yet. We're gonna roll over to a plank. So rolling over into a plank hold, we're just gonna hold. So come into the forearms, finding your neutral spine again. So not arching, not rounding, but just find that middle ground. Heads over the hands, shoulders over the knees. You can do this on your knees. If you want to advance this, you can tuck the toes and lift the knees off. Particularly for the first round, if you want to stick to the knees and do, especially if it means that you're nailing the technique. And if you're going to check yourself side on, check that, because the chances are you might have come here or back here like this. So aiming almost have your back flat, that I can put a tray of drinks on your back. Watch that the head hasn't suddenly gone floppy, like this. So just hold up really nice and strong. And you're actively going to push your elbows both downwards and into the floor. Got another 10 seconds. Actually, no, I'm not going to scooch over to the other side. And now roll over onto your right side. You can lie all the way down. You can support your head, whichever you like, but bend the right knee. Left knee, take it slightly back, lift it up, and pulse, and pulse, and pulse. Little pulses. So not really erratically fast, just slow little squeezes, making sure you feel it on the side of your bum. If you're feeling anywhere that isn't the side of the bum, poke it first to see if it will work. Check your alignment, so check if your knees come forward. This is what I see literally the most, and people don't realise they're doing it. So the knees pointing upwards, the knees in front, and instead you want to push the heel away like you're pushing all away from you, and take the legs slightly back. So you've already squeezed the bum, and then go for the lift. Little pulses, little pulses. Just got one more exercise, and that is already the first round complete. As I say, all we're going to do is 3 rounds of these. Yeah, perfect. So we're going to go into back extension. So just lie around on your belly, tuck in your chin, fingertips on the temples, squeeze your butt, and lift your chest away from the floor, and then lower it back down. So you're lifting your shoulders away from the floor and lowering back down. Some people might be able to lift up really high. That sometimes does mean, though, that you feel pinching in your back. So it's more about just feeling the back of your body contract, even if you're not lifting so high, and then releasing down. If it is too much, just lightly. I scooched the wrong way. I'm just scooching across the floor. So if you need a bit less, just keep your hands down and just very slightly push into the floor with your upper body just to assist. Now the legs for the moment, keep them on the floor, feet on the floor, and close your feet together. Squeeze your legs towards one another. Feel the little squeeze of your inner thighs. So feel that squeeze. You squeeze your bum, and then you're feeling this strength across the lower and mid back. And the whole time you do this, keep your chin tucked, so you're looking down to the floor, Otherwise, you'll find your neck will be straining like this. Let's just roll back over. Back to the hip bridges. Squeeze your butt, lift your hips up, and lower your hips down. So there's no changes to each of these rounds. The only thing is you want to try and get working on the technique, improving the technique, maybe the range, and just continuing to get through. How hard can you put into your bum? So resist putting the way down. Don't just flop down on the floor, but squeeze your butt on the way up. Have a good pause to clench your bum and then lower down. Seeing how much pressure you can put your feet into the floor. And you're trying to make your bum really burn here. And you're in control of that. So the harder you clench and contract your bum, the harder it burns. It's a kind of a basic exercise, but it doesn't mean it has to be easy. It can be easy if we're just lifting up and down, but we're not. We're being mindful, we're focusing. Big squeeze. Coming to dead bugs, the knees over hips. Find your neutral spine. And then opposite arm and leg. Extends and release. If you would like a little bit more of this one, you can extend your leg forward to 45 degrees and then pull in. If that makes this a bit too much of a challenge, then just stick to one arm, bent leg, one arm at a time. So there are loads of ways of advancing this. This is one of those things that I sometimes think, even when you're advanced, you're strong, you're pro, it's still good to go back to the basics and do it sometimes in the simplest forms. So if you're a beginner, by the way, this isn't going to feel simple at all. But I mean, for advanced, this can feel quite simple, and it's still really good practice to make sure you're still able to do it, even if it's slow, it's controlled, and you're making sure your spine is completely neutral. We don't always have to work by like maybe extending both legs or getting their feet really close to the floor, adding weight, but just instead just controlling our movements to make sure we're working well. Extended hip bridges. All you do from here is just extend your legs away. Find your pelvic tilt, lift your hips up, lower hips down, lifting the hips up and lowering hips down. Playing with the position of your feet. Again, further away is harder, closer in is more for the bum. Really close in, you'll start to feel it in your quads, your thighs. And what was I gonna say? I don't know. How do you find this one? Do you find it really challenging? This is one for me where my hamstrings, again, hamstrings is the backs of the legs, which hopefully you're feeling. My hamstrings are the thing that was always quite underactive, and it was always be my quads, my thighs that tried to do most of the work. And so I've been having to work on this. So it should be really strong and pro, yeah? Nice. Coming to pointers, so roll yourself over. Come into all fours. Take the time if you need to set up the neutral spine, and then opposite arm and leg. Reset and switch. Paying really careful attention to the spine, not letting the belly drop, not letting the weight shift forward or back. And I'm going to show you one thing from the front. What you'll tend to find is when you lift a knee off, the knee that's on the floor, we tend to move over towards it and then move over this way. So the goal is to try and keep it. So if I didn't see that your body was moving, you just take that time to get the weight shift and then put loads of support into the supporting arm as well. So we're keeping the spine neutral, the pelvis neutral. Because it's honestly just the best foundational exercise when you get them right. And foundational, again, doesn't mean they're easy. Sometimes the stronger you get, the better you are at it, so the harder you're working. Do not get in there, do not get in the rocking. Lie down on your left side. Bend the left knee. Back your hips, take your right leg back to squeeze the back of your bum, then lift the leg up, then pulse. If you find you can get your leg all the way up here, chances are you've done what I've just had to do, which is bring the knee forward, point the knee upwards, point the toes upwards, and then working into the hips. And instead, again, you want to keep almost level, kick the leg back. The people that can go all the way up there are people that can do splits, which maybe you can. I definitely cannot. Little pulses, little Bernie in the butt. We're Bernie in the butt. Oh, I definitely burns. Your birds are my birds. My burns. And it's burning in the butt, burning in the butt, burning in my bun. So again, we do go to the other side, but not before we get to do a plank. We get to it, privileged to. So rolling over, by the way, you can absolutely do this on your hands. Hands or forearms, knees or toes. You can technically do a plank here in all fours. So this is a box position plank. The thing here is keeping the weight forward and finding that tuck. And you still can think about kind of pulling the floor towards you, pulling the carpet in towards the middle, and you'll feel your abs contract. It's the next stage from there that you maybe walk the hands forward, keep the shoulders over the wrist, and you're making sure that your hips aren't down here. So lots of trainers say about a straight line from your shoulders down to your knees or shoulders down to the toes, but that actually means now my abs are in a stretch position. Instead, you want the straight line from your shoulders to your tailbone, and then from there your legs will kind of veer off underneath you. So it's the way we've always said, like instructors said, so to try and get you in that kind of straight neutral core, but sometimes people are taking it to mean it's that straight line. And instead, again, straight line here, and then you've got your legs. Oh look, I've come off on the toes for the last second. What a hero. So we're lying on the right side now, it's the left leg lifting. Set it up, squeeze your butt, take the legs slightly back, lift it up, little pulse, little pulse, little pulse. Na 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 na, to lean on, burn my butt. Oh yes, it burns. Side of my butt. So it should be at the side of your bum. Side of your bum. And again, you can get a little squeeze in the back of the bum too. Yeah, the leg might go slightly back, but then you're working the whole booty. How's round 2 feeling compared to round 3? Yeah, nice. And then we lie on our bellies for back extensions. Which way do I have to scooch? This way. Tuck in your chin, press your thighs together, squeeze your butt, lift your chest away from the floor, and then lower yourself down. Pressing your feet towards one another on the floor, making sure you're squeezing your butt every time. If you want to make this a little bit more challenging, reach your hands a bit further away from you. You can even reach all the way in front. So the further the other way, the more the challenge is. And try to make this controlled up and down. Up and down. So you're not just going to like poof, flop down onto the floor. So it's always contract and release. Some of these exercises, by the way, you know when I say even if you're advanced, you might sometimes, I think sometimes the advanced people are the ones that think, oh, I can do this, I've done harder things. Whereas actually it's forgetting to kind of neglecting someone to go back to these basic moves, foundational moves, that means you get worse at it and you're not used to it. I remember seeing some guy in the gym smashing out dead bugs. I was like, yes. Line your back, hip bridges, final round 3 or 3. And the reason why I mentioned that guy is I had also just moments before seen him smashing out pull-ups. So he's obviously like very fit. He was absolutely there just working out and his like chest out, 6-pack abs. But he was still there working on his foundational moves and making sure it's completely nailed. So yeah, these exercises super, super, super important. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum. Obviously these moves can be made to be harder, more challenging, can add pulses, single legs, etc. And yet just trying to get it so you're still nailing the pelvic tilt, the clench of your butt, trying not to let any other muscles take over. It's round 3 of 3, let me just do the tiny stretch and then done. Nice, dead bugs. Bring the knees over the hips. This is what the sailor is doing. Making sure your knees aren't coming forward towards you, but they're over the hips. Hands over the shoulders. Bent leg or extended leg. Here's a challenge for you. You've been working on keeping the spine neutral, I hope. And as long as you've got that, just check that you're returning your knees over your hips or slightly in front of your hips rather than over your belly button like this. So try not to bring the legs in close. This is a way that just means our body naturally gets pulled into this straight line. Whereas instead you want to have it so you're having to resist into it. Halfway. And if you're managing to nail that, you've got the neutral spine, got the control, then try and just pay attention. Notice if your belly's actually like really bulge and puff out, and try and keep it in and contracted towards the middle as possible. Perfect. Extended hip bridges. Walk the feet away. They might be so far away, by the way, that your toes are lifted, and that's okay as well. I should have said that before. If they're not, just work on pushing the balls of the feet down to the floor. I often feel it better with so far that my heels are there. You'll see I can barely fit my hands underneath the bum, and yet I can tell you now my hamstrings, whoa, they're going. And now think of like pushing down to lift up, and then think about dragging your heels towards you like this. They're not actually going to move, but that motion of thinking pulling in should really get them to fire up a little bit more. Even pressure right and left. I can always feel one side trying to take over more. Nearly there. Yeah, perfect. Rock yourself up, roll over into all fours. Find a neutral spine. Take your time to feel the weight shift, to take one knee and arm off, and then the other. Not worrying about the leg coming too high, particularly if that means you arch your back like this, or your hips open like this. The side that's not the best like this. You want to keep your hips square to the floor, keep rolling the hip down, keep the spine neutral, and the weight even. Takes a lot of concentration, this one, to really do it right. And I've been doing this for years, and it still requires the exact same concentration. We all want to kind of slip into the same habits of saving ourselves with the leg, opening the hips, or arching the back. Na, 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 na. Perfect. Right, we're lying on to the left side. Bend the left knee. Squeeze the right butt cheek to take the leg back, then lift the leg up and pulse. Pulse and pulse. Check that you're not starting to roll outwards now you're in the final one. Keep the hips stacked. I've actually got my food in the slow cooker at the moment. Oh, it smells amazing. It's not even like close to a meal time. It's just been smelling like this all day. Like, just think of that when you want to keep stopping. Nice, well done. Perfect. Coming to your plank hold, hands, forearms, knees, or toes. Completely up to you, just as long as you've not got archy or piked up hips. So find your brace, straighten up your shoulders to your head. Sorry, your tailbone to your shoulders, your tailbone to the top of your head. Pushing down the floor, pulling the floor towards you. What was I going to say? I was going to say a little, like, by the way, you should always toot your own horn. So my side bum has always been so weak, and since specifically I've been filming these videos, there's been way more booty burners and stuff where like was doing the side like this, and I would have struggled to keep completing the minute before, and now I'm managing to do it. So just shows, keep at it, and toot your own horn. It needs to be tooted. Sometimes other people's won't toot it for you, so you've got to toot your own. And if you're not going to toot your horn, why should anyone else? Oh, God, getting real motivational deep here. Yeah, nice. Other side, mine on the right side. Set your hips. Leg back, squeeze the butt, leg up, and pulse. And pulse, and pulse. Nice and burny. And that's also, by the way, if you find it ever hard to complete the workout and needing breaks, cool. Like I just said, that was always me as well. And not just me, everyone has phases where they need breaks. But if you do find it's getting to the point where you're like, oh my God, it burns, I have to stop. Just taking a breath, take out a breath, and then maybe have a break. So just trying to go that little bit longer than you want to, because it should be uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is good. Not in the moment, but it is good for a glute gains. Glute's another word for your butt. If you didn't know, sorry if it's patronising to you, I just appreciate that muscles all have quite complex names. So much. Yeah, nice. So we finish with back extensions. Lie on your belly, tuck in your chin, press your legs towards one another, lift yourself away, lower yourself down. Fingers can be close. They can be out in front of you. If you would like to also lift the legs up on the third round, feel free. You're looking to keep pressing your feet towards one another, so your inner thighs, and trying to get your thighs to lift away from the floor. So not just your shins, but your entire thigh to lift away. And we've got about 30 seconds to go. We're just doing 2 really quick stretches. And we go about having a lovely time without me. You can feel each little part of your bum and your back that's working, your inner thighs. Less than 10 seconds and it's all done. Perfect. And just push your hips back. Open your knees, big toes together. Find a child's pose. So we get to have a little stretch in your inner thighs so we just can work in a little bit. You might even feel it pull on your hamstrings. Feel it release your back, release your shoulders. You can relax your head down. Maybe even move your head a little bit side to side and give yourself a little head massage in this position as well. Nice. And then coming to cat and cows. So all fours, and basically rounding your back to release your back, tucking the chin, arching your back to release your abs. If you feel one needs it more than the other, feel free to hold in one particular pose. Feel free to stretch longer after this if you would like. And that is us done. Well done. Like I said, I just toot my own horn. Make sure you toot yours as well. Give yourself a little pat on the back, a round of applause. Sort of coming at you there. But yeah, give yourself praise for having done it. Well done. How's your form? How's your technique? Sometimes it's either looking in mirrors or filming yourself. As always, give me feedback, please. But thank you so much. I'm so appreciative for you choosing me as your trainer to help you work out. Hopefully see you soon. And by see you, I mean, you talk to me privately, yeah. You see me.